Voltron Network.
And we are live. What's good, guys? Welcome back to the bonus episode. Talking at the movies. This is original versus remake, but this technically we're going against the rules because this technically isn't really a remake. It's a soft reboot,
which essentially is a remake, right? We are playing fast and hard with the rules here, but hell, the rules are there to be broken, right?
That's it. I'm Ed Reese Antonio.
And I'm Mo.
It's good, guys. And this week we are doing National Lampoon's Vacation versus Just Vacation. Is that National Lampoon even the subtitle for that one? It ain't, is it?
No, they seem to have dropped that, even though essentially it's part of the same universe.
Yes. Well, Mo, it was nice revisiting these.
I obviously only revisiting one of those because I've never seen the other one. So the other one was like the first time I'd ever seen it, and I'm talking about the remake. I have seen obviously the original.
Yeah.
I absolutely love like those original vacation movies.
God, I didn't expect to have this stance. Last week it was controversial because I went against the grain. The known classic, everyone gets lauded as being a cult classic, which it is, but I had more fun with the remake.
You had more fun with the... Oh, that's last
Evil
week.
Dead, yeah.
Right, okay.
And then when we sat down, and then with this one, obviously, classic, National Lampoon, Chevy Chase, early 80s, what was it, 81 or something, or 84?
As it is 83.
83, but I laughed more with the remake. And
I know what you mean. There were more laugh out loud parts, but I think the original film is just a better film.
Problem is, I think it's hard to get away from the sentiment, like, because it's something that you watch as a kid, and then you've got all of these sequels. And I think when people judge, especially when Vacation came out in 2015, I think it was, people conflated. It didn't get good reviews. It did decently as far as box office goes, but people conflate their memory of the original. They think of the very first one, and then they think of European Vacation, and they think of Christmas Vacation, and they cram them all together into this one nostalgic memory from their childhood of these fun family films that they kind of loved and make them feel warm and fuzzy. And Vacation just didn't have a chance, and just everyone shit on it. But if you truly judge the two films on their own as comedies, I'm not saying original was terrible, but as comedies, Vacation is way more successful.
I don't know about that because I think they tried to essentially have lots of callbacks to the original film, right? Yeah. It's almost like a remake, right?
Yeah.
But they changed a lot of stuff around, and I don't think some of that stuff really sat well with me. So if you take like the Christina Applegate character, right? I absolutely adore Christina Applegate in everything she does. You know, she's been in the acting biz since she was a sort of like a child in Married with Children. You know, I've watched her in loads of things. And while I liked the character that she played, when I then compared it to like from the original, like, the mum was like a very wholesome mum, whereas in with Christina Applegate, they completely just turned her character into this, not into a loon, but they, you know, like the whole what's her name, like Debbie Do Anything.
Yeah, but that was like a sordid past, which the original one could have had. We never got into her past, so we don't know what she was like as a teenager. It didn't dig that deep. I think most people have that.
Having said that, I did find the whole the bit at the sorority house quite funny, where she's trying to do the assault course.
She gets trapped in the guillotine and just
for a vague moment, I thought she was gonna down that beer and show these like whippersnappers how to do it.
Kill it. No, I love it. I don't usually laugh at bodily fluid jokes, but that did make me crack up. And the thing is, while I was watching the original Vacation, I started to question to myself, do I laugh anymore at comedy? Because I was starting to notice that, I wasn't laughing, and really it didn't pick up for me until when they pick up the aunt. Around the time they pick her up and she kind of dies. Up to that point, I was surprised at how uninteresting I was finding it.
Really? I was into it from the beginning, and what I realised from the remake, they spend a lot more, like with the original. It's like they have one scene at the car dealership and then like they're on their vacation, right? Whereas with the remake, they have it's almost 20 minutes before they get on the road.
It gets straight to it. No,
man. they have like this whole. So in the Vacation, in the remake, they
Mhm.
have all of these scenes right at the beginning with like the family dinner, how they're not bonding with the children.
That
It's
lasts so
almost like
quick.
20. It's
It
almost
felt so
20
quick
odd
to me.
minutes before they get on the road.
It felt way quicker to me. Like what Chevy's
Yeah.
one, I guess it's got the whole car dealership thing, and
That's like one scene, and that whole scene, I'm kind of wondering. I know this guy. I know this guy
yeah,
from
yeah.
somewhere. The car dealer, and it was. I had to look him up, and it's what's his
Oh,
name? It's the dad from We just look so young, right? You just
yeah.
there's such a
There's a whole bunch of actors in this that are just
yeah.
like, oh, what if I forgot you were in this?
You know what? So did you watch that documentary I sent you a link to?
I didn't get. I was started it while I was waiting for you, but I completely
So
forgot to watch it.
did I never realized that
Cousin.
Jenna Kowalski's in this
Yeah,
movie?
yeah. As soon as I saw her as a kid,
Yeah.
like her face is so unique, you can't even
And,
miss. You know it's her because no one else looks like her. You can just see like, oh,
I think she must have had one of the best lines in the film.
yes.
And you know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you? And so there's a bit where her and Audrey are on the seesaw, and she goes, I go steady and kiss boys, and Audrey replies back to her, well, that's not that unique. Lots of people do that. And she goes, but Daddy says I'm the best at it. And she actually, so in that documentary, they actually have her back as an adult talking about it.
Yeah,
and she goes, and she's like, I know what I said, and I kind of know what I meant, but I didn't really know what it meant.
One thing you have to really give credit for the original, I think, even though that nuclear family of, husband, wife, 2 kids, a dog, whatever, that has existed forever. But I truly believe National Lampoon's, this movie, even though these characters existed in like whatever National Lampoon was before, I think it was like a magazine or a short thing, comedy thing that was around. But I really reckon this movie with the Griswolds really is the archetype for, if it wasn't for this movie and these series of movies, we wouldn't have The Simpsons, we wouldn't have American Dad. Because it's true, you can see all the seeds of what all those things became in this.
Absolutely.
The doofus dad, the straight-laced mom who kind of, does break character and does wealthies now and again, the kids that are always bickering with each other. It's literally, they are the Simpsons.
This was it. So I know you said you didn't find it particularly funny, but this was essentially that it's a landmark comedy, right? This was like it for the time. There'd been nothing like it before. And actually watching the film and looking at the rating that it is, right, like as in the age rating, not the critical rating, I found it so perplexing, right, because it's very much a family orientated film with tits in it. Do you know what I mean?
That was a surprise to be like, oh yeah, what's her name again? The actress Beverly D'Angelo. Who I used to have a crush in back when I was a little kid. Yeah, I'm like, wow.
Oh yeah, she was gorgeous in this, right? She comes across as like such a sweet sort of mum, but very very sexy at the same kind of time.
Yes. And very understanding. How many wives? How many wives are gonna catch their husband in a swimming pool with a naked, basically supermodel chick? And then just laugh it off 5 minutes later and then just jump in the swimming pool.
Typical attitude towards women in the 80s, right?
Definitely written by a man.
Yeah. Oh, well, so the actual... Yeah. So it was written by John Hughes, but he didn't have anything to do once the script had been written, because after he handed it in, they changed a lot of stuff. So this is actually based on his own life and his own family vacations as he has as a child. But the script was very much based on the idea that you see it through the son's eyes. And obviously when it went into production, they decided that wasn't a particularly great idea and started looking at... Once
you get Chevy Chase involved, he's going to be a star.
Absolutely. So this was done on quite a modest budget, but apparently it the first opening weekend made back its entire budget, and they realized they had an absolute hit on their hands.
How many sequels were there for this? I think they said like 5 or something. There was more than I remembered. Like there was one night Lampoon's Vegas thing. I'd never even heard that.
So after this came European Vacation, which is essentially almost a remake, but it's in Europe as opposed to going across the US.
I need to rewatch that one because I think I remember liking
that one's
it
got
originally.
more tits in it as well, from what I remember.
I need to watch that again.
Yeah. Then there's the Christmas Vacation.
The one that sticks with me the most. Well, I think most people might be the high point for the whole franchise.
It might be the one that gets the most residual checks from everyone, right? Because it's like every single Christmas.
Yeah.
Then there's Vegas Vacation, which came out in the 90s, and
Didn't know about it.
straight to video type thing. And then there are also some spin-offs. There's like a Cousin Eddie one. There is.
I saw there's a Christmas Vacation too with just a cousin.
Yeah,
What?
I think yeah, there are. Well, obviously those would have been like straight to video, really proper, as cheap as chips type of films.
Ah, man. So, what were your childhood vacations like, Mo? Do you experience anything like this?
So I do recall having like driving holidays where you went to like the Isle of Wight, Wales, Scotland, that type of thing. Obviously, nothing mad like this happened. A lot of it was just sitting in the car. I remember one of the holidays having one of those like Nintendo game thingies, you know, like it has a single screen.
Oh, yeah.
It's just doing the same thing over and over and over again. You're essentially trying to beat your high score.
It's insane to think, like, kids now, if they do something like this, like a road trip with a family, infinite entertainment. They got their phones, they can listen to music, they can listen to podcasts, they can watch telly, basically, with YouTube and everything. They play games. No boredom.
Which is shocking,
no excuse.
Because this film came out in 2015. There is no kid playing video games in the back. There is no kid playing with like an iPhone or a tablet or anything.
Vacation, yeah. But I'm trying to think, like, back in the day, I'm vague, man. I was too young to even remember what the bit in between the vacation was like for me. I just remember getting to like a place. I think it was like a seaside somewhere. Yeah. But that journey, like, what the hell? How the hell did we not go insane? Or how did the parents not end up doing the home and strangling the kids for real? Because it must have been a nightmare.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, like in the original, the kids were reasonably well behaved, whereas in the remake, the fucking little kid was a psycho.
More realistic though, but dude, tell me that did not crack you up when he saw the girl in the car outside.
And then that was funny. That was really, really funny.
It just had me cracking up.
But he was just I would be scared to sleep in the same house as that kid, let alone share a room with him or something.
Loved it. Speak more on the sequel or the remake sequel. Semi. What do you feel about Ed Helms? And do you think it would have been nicer if they could have, for the sake of continually, had the original kids back again?
I did wonder that, actually, because I thought those kids, they would obviously now be at the age where they would have had their own family. But then I thought about it. I thought in all four films, I think almost every single film, the kids were different.
Yeah, so, I do remember they started switching them out.
Like in Christmas Vacation, I was looking up the other day. It's what's her name from what's Juliette Lewis?
Oh, really?
It's the daughter. Yes.
Oh, I didn't remember that. Yeah, that'd be safe. But when I was looking up where these actors are now, like that son looks nothing. You look at him now, Anthony Michael Hall looks nothing like how he did as a kid.
Oh, no, he doesn't at all.
He was everywhere back in the 80s. Yeah. I remember. That quintessential kid.
He was the John Hughes kid, right? So he had like this film. He had like I can't remember if he was in the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
He was in 16 Candles. The one where they make the model, the woman.
Yeah, and then
Weird Science.
At some point, as a young adult in his 20s, it looked like he just got lost in the desert somewhere, dried up, and turned into like the Thing from the Fantastic Four. That's what he looks like now. He looks like the Thing.
Have you so that documentary that I sent you a link to, it also had what's the name? What was the name of the model? I forgot. Completely forgot the name now.
Oh, the one in the swimming pool. Christy Brinkley. Yeah, still looks the same.
Right.
Still looks the same.
My God, that was done in 2011, and I was thinking, damn, right? You can tell she's aged a little bit, but like nowhere near as much as she should have.
She is famous for whatever baby's blood she's bathing in, man. She's famous for having that secret.
The stories they were telling about her was so funny, right? So apparently, Ferraris back in the 80s, right, weren't really consumer cars. So they had to give her driving lessons to drive that. So apparently the producer goes to like the stunt coordinator. You're going to have to take her out for a day in the Ferrari and teach her how to drive. And the stunt coordinator's like, all right, I'll take her out for a day.
They all know. Everyone just crashes, though. That's the car that everyone always crashes when you see celebrities get a bit of money.
What's the director? Was it Ivan Reitman? He goes, one day he got a call from wardrobe, and he was told he has to come down there and give sign off on what underwear Chris Brinkley is going to be wearing. And he goes, I was just sitting there watching her try on all of this negligees and all that sort of stuff. And apparently there was a whole misunderstanding and wrangling about whether she would get naked or not. They were obviously expecting her to for the scene at the swimming pool, and obviously they'd made the movie as in they'd already shown a pair of breasts already, so it wasn't going to be an issue with rating. But apparently she wasn't prepared to do it because she hadn't posed nude anywhere, and she wasn't going to give that away very cheaply.
This would have been the movie to do it if she was able to do it rather than Playboy or whatever.
Well, this is a low budget film, right? So they probably couldn't have afforded that.
And you can't really predict how big this was. Even though Chevy Chase was a star at this point, this was like the
this was almost the peak, right? Because I had a look in the 90s. I didn't realize it. He vanished. Yeah, like the qualities of films he was doing.
It was just gone downhill. When his reputation had caught up with him, because SNL blew him up. He kind of left all that stuff and decided to. Yeah, he just became the massive star, but then he became a bit of an arsehole. He had this franchise and he had Fletch. I don't really remember him for anything else after this. There's films like Memoirs of an Invisible Man, and there's like these odd little films that he's done. But like this is what you really remember him for, and obviously, like you said, he was like famous for being in Saturday Night Live. Jeez. Randy Quaid, it's nice seeing him again. Thought all about him. How can two brothers take? He's Chevy's cousin, isn't it?
He's Beverly's cousin. It's Beverly's cousin. Yes.
Yeah, because
hold on. Is it? Yeah, something like that. Is it because? Yeah. I had to go and look up to see if he was still alive because I was like, is he gone? Is he still around? Yeah, he's still alive. Yeah.
He has to be. So get more into the sequel more. So what do you think of the family overall?
So they've obviously really modernized it, right? Because it doesn't really reflect the family from the 80s at all.
That could be my one gripe with the thing is that Ed Helms, I don't really get any sense of that original kid in him. It feels more like he was doing an impression of of a different version of Chevy rather than being what those kids would have grown up to be. That's why I would have thought it would be nice to have that.
Potentially, but he never goes full Chevy either. He keeps himself right. I mean, Ed Helms is Ed Helms, right? I mean, we've seen him do this type of movie, but better already in We Are the Millers. No, that wasn't Ed Helms, was it? That was the other guy. No, in fact, We Are the Millers was probably the better film, which was kind of like this.
Maybe.
Oh, don't tell me you don't like that.
No, I do.
That's
I do like it.
Funny film.
But the thing is, I like this more than I remember liking it. I remember enjoying it in the cinema.
Yeah.
I was watching it with Salem. He thought it was okay. Even though we were both laughing our heads off throughout the whole thing. But he thought it was okay. But I never really revisited it after that. But watching it again, it was like, why have I not watched this more often? This film's awesome.
I didn't think the kids were as good as the original ones.
They have way more to do in this, though.
They had more to do, and maybe that's a bit the problem, because I really didn't like the little shit, because he literally just reminds me of everything that is wrong with, like, children.
That's the point. That's why it's so satisfying. When his older brother realizes all he has to do is stand up to him. That's all it is.
It's like you just want someone to show him the back of their hand, right, and get him into line and to start behaving.
And then we get that. We get that scene. When the girl tells him, that poor...
what do you want to do?
A hot tub scene. When he's there playing the guitar, the girl comes, everything's going great. The guy is making ids, and then the dad comes like the creepy pedo.
Yeah. But what's even funnier is because they have a conversation about what a rim job is, and then later on, she's like, "What do you want to do?" And it's like, "How about a rim job?"
Rim job? Even before that, when he says it, when the man comes to the jacuzzi, if the old man, you're not too old to give an old man a rim job, the guy just...
What about the bit where they've got, they're obviously doing a remake of the original bit where they've got the model or the pretty girl in the Ferrari, and she has...
drifts into the oncoming traffic, gone.
How can we have not spoken about Chris Hemsworth?
Jesus, psycho Chris Hemsworth.
Oh my God! All I can remember about him is the bit in the bedroom where he's got his boxer shorts on.
Leg up for the frig. Not even saying stuff half the time. Just like, Yeah, just posing with his fucking. Oh, that's great. See, the fact that where all of these things are sticking out to us shows you it's a good film.
I mean,
It deserves
there are
more
some
love than it gets.
There are some very funny moments in it. I'd be very interested in watching a making of this because the making of the original film was quite fascinating. They were actually on the road, I think for like something like 6 or 7 weeks, and they go it was a really really difficult shoot because essentially it's a low budget film. You're moving from one place to the other. Even Christy Brinkley was on with them for 6 weeks because they go they didn't know when they were scheduling the shots. They kept just telling her it's tomorrow, it's tomorrow, it's tomorrow. But she goes, she had a ball. She loved it. She was horse riding. She was like kayaking. She goes, it was just like I was on vacation.
Look, I was wondering because you're all location, and they're there. They go to the Grand Canyon.
Oh yeah,
and all of that.
they go to all those places. They go before they even started shooting. The location manager and another guy, literally, their job was to like just drive across the states and find like these idyllic locations, and they do look absolutely stunning in both films. Like just the scenery is just absolutely stunning.
What do you think, Charlie Day?
Just such a random thing. I mean, there's a lot of people that you see in that film, but whenever I see him, all I want to see him do is play Charlie.
And he starts to by the end. He starts off like a completely different goofy guy, but then once he gets done by the fiance, that's Charlie all the way. Suicide guy.
Where he does the whole rant about how his girlfriend's just dumped him, or his fiance just dumped him, and then he's like, right, let's go kayaking then.
He just commits suicide. I love it. Too funny. I love that.
Over the waterfall.
Yeah. What bigger piece of shit in each film car do you think was the worst?
Oh God, that monstrosity in the remake was just terrible. It just looked horrendous. At least the original kind of resembles an actual car of the time, right?
Yeah, you can imagine that actually being a thing, maybe in Russia or somewhere. But that other one was like when they press the button and the chairs start to turn around while they're driving.
No safety features at all, right? Like let the driver's chair turn while the car is still moving.
Insane, and a backwards rearview mirrors
Oh, actually, talking about the car, so I don't know how true this was. But apparently they were the first people to actually create some sort of rig that allowed them to be on an open road and actually film from any angle that they wanted and stuff.
In the first
one. Apparently that was like a whole revolutionary thing at that point.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, because you can see that there definitely weren't no green screens when they were driving.
Oh yeah, they're all out on the open road.
And those cameras back then would have been way too big to have rigged up hanging on the side. Yeah. Oh. Very cool.
Yeah. I mean, if you get time, have a watch. I mean, it's an hour and a half long. But it's absolutely really really interesting.
Oh man, so
and apparently Beverly D'Angelo and Chevy Chase are still friends to this day.
Really?
She goes. She absolutely loves him. So
they legit got on.
They legitimately got. Well, I mean, they were in like 4 or 5 films together after this, right? So you kind of think like.
So maybe
Chevy is known to be not the easiest person in the world to get on with.
So maybe whatever combination of personalities in these movies softens him for some reason. He just seems to just.
He probably fancied the pants off of her, right?
that maybe they just let him do what he wants as well. Yeah. Maybe they just don't put any reins on him. Maybe that was a problem with Community where Dan Harmon had the specific line where he wanted the characters to go in dialogue. And that's what caused the friction. Maybe they just let him do his thing on the film.
Well, I'm watching Community now, right? And we'll talk about that more on the next podcast. But it almost seems like they wanted Chevy Chase to be Chevy Chase.
Maybe they just Dan Harmon wrote it that way. You know?
You can imagine him like sitting on set, like watching the things that Chevy was doing, and like, I'm going to write that into a script.
Yeah, that's the point. But then it was an ensemble thing, and I reckon that's probably one of the big things that he doesn't like sitting back watching other people have all the jokes. He kind of wants to be the guy, the star. And dude, man, back in the 80s and 70s, he was a pretty boy. Can't deny it.
Oh, Chevy! Oh, absolutely! It's amazing to see like the difference between him then and him now. You know, I mean, obviously we all age and we all put on weight, but it's really it's. I think we are getting to an age now where we're seeing like all of our heroes that we used to enjoy watching when we were children actually get old and have like the ravages of age catch up, and it can be quite difficult. But then if you look at like Christina Applegate. Jesus, like she's been acting for like close to 30 odd years and she still looks amazing.
Yeah, man. Cool. Very cool. Well, would you rate them?
So I would give the remake. I mean, it's not a terrible film. It was an okay film. It's not one I would rush out to watch again. So I'd probably give it a 3.
Okay.
Middle of the road, right? Not bad, not great. Perfectly serviceable. I would give the original. I don't think it's quite a 4, but it's definitely worthy of a 3.5. It is just good, fun, entertainment, and in my opinion, it is the better of the two films. I think it's got more of a lasting appeal, whereas the remake was very much aimed at the then and the now. The original is very like timeless.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We ain't even get into that the hot spring scene where they go swimming and it turns out to be open raw sewage.
That I don't understand that scene, right? Because surely you would have smelled the
Well, maybe because it's like a toilet. Like once it's underwater, the water keeps it in there.
But that's hot water, right? The springs, so that smell's just coming out. Oh,
yeah.
And they're rubbing it. They're rubbing it on her face. Oh.
And they would have had to stay like that while they traveled to the ranch to see the sister. We didn't even talk about the sister, man.
It's like if your family turned up at your house, that mansion, like with shit like all over them, you're not letting them into the house. You're going to go round the back. I'm going to hose you down.
Nasty. For me, I'm actually going to give them both 3.5 for different reasons. Like I laughed more with Vacation. But then there is like the timeless classic of the original, which I definitely recognize and still have a soft spot for. You know, even the theme music and even the Wally World moose. We didn't even get to the freaking Wally World, man. What was his name? John Candy. It's so nice seeing him again. It's been so long since I've seen him in a movie.
And I don't know if I'd never put 2 and 2 together before, but the park owner, Roy Wally, I didn't realize they'd obviously got somebody who looks a lot like Walt Disney.
Yeah, really did. Really did. Yeah. Yeah, it was all funny. So yeah, 3.5 for both. Different reasons, but dude, you can't. People just got judge it on its own. Especially if you ain't never seen the originals, then I think you can just have fun with it. But
potentially, it'd be interesting to see somebody do it the other way around, right? If you've never seen the originals. One thing I guess we do need to talk about, now we've done all our ratings and stuff, is what did you think of like the Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo like cameos and stuff? There's obviously cameos from the original.
Yeah.
Were they wasted? Were they? Could they have done some better?
I think it's what it needed to be because it's about the new family now. So But it was random how they just turned up, not really realizing that they didn't seem to know that they were going to see their parents.
There was that. And do you not just think, like, of all the things that Chevy Chase and his wife would be doing, they wouldn't be running a bread and breakfast?
Yeah, for a former airline pilot. It was a bit of a random occupation to be getting in. But
no, was he an airline? No, he wasn't there.
No, the son was a pilot.
The son's a pilot. He worked in preservatives, if I remember correctly.
Preservatives to food. Yeah, I remember that little conversation there with the beer.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need something to do when you get old. B&B is a good thing to do if you don't want to retire.
I don't think Clark at that age was a very a people person.
No, even though he thought he was. Yeah, fun films. So, I kind of do want to watch the other ones now. I think I will have to do European Vacation or something.
Oh, I mean, I bought them all on Blu-ray a few months ago, so I definitely will be digging through them now. I do think they are. None of the sequels are anywhere near as good as the original. I mean, European Vacation.
No, Christmas is the better one, man.
Christmas, I think, is just a timeless film because it's a Christmas film and you see it every Christmas. I don't know if it's actually a good film.
The formula's way better, Mark. Yeah, no, it is. They got the formula down a lot better with Christmas.
It's because they mixed it up, right? It's essentially the other 3 films are all vacation films, whereas that is it's you don't go anywhere, the family comes
Yeah.
to you type thing.
Yeah. Cousin Eddie, was it Cousin Eddie?
Yeah, it's Cousin Eddie.
Yeah, and him come with the fact,
Yeah.
come on, man, the squirrel in the Christmas tree. Come on, man. Great. Yeah, so guys, let us know which one you thought. Even the sequels. Have you ever seen Vegas? Vegas Vacation?
I remember renting Vegas back in the 90s.
Was it any good? I guess.
I do not remember it being a good film.
Let us know what you thought, guys. So yeah, Talking About the Movies, the main podcast. Check it out. All podcast feeds, Voltron Network. If you're watching this video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, all of that good stuff. From me, Idris.
And me, Mo.
See you guys next week.